Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
We're going to discuss here a little album versus album, and something that could possibly make Barden very unhappy.
And not only that, but I'd like to invite Barden on here to connect with us, because it sounds like Chris 86'd him from the message board. So Barden, if you're open to it, hell, we'll have you on here. What the fuck? Why not?
Reach out to us on the Facebook page.
Maybe we could do Van Halen 1 versus 2.
Ooh,
that's
two
hard.
Classics.
Well,
that's
I think
brutal choice.
Yeah.
So anyway, so go ahead.
All right. So yes. So this week, our album versus album, we decided to take a look at the parting of the ways in the Van Halen catalog with 5150, the first Sammy Hagar album there. Quite a classic for I think Van Hagar fans. And we're taking a look at Diamond Dave's Eat 'Em and Smile, the first full album he released with Steve Vai and Billy and the Boys.
Right.
So who wants to shoot first? Ruben,
I'm going last, though.
Oh, he's going last. I don't know. Do you want to go first? What are we doing? Are we going through the album first, or going through both, or how do we do it?
However you want to do it, but maybe again go through the tracks you're liking, and then
all right. So let's do that.
Kind of pick which one. If you're stuck going on the road trip and only one can go, what are you playing?
Oh shit. Well, let me break this down. So I interestingly enough, I did see both these tours. So I saw Van Halen. They played 2 nights in Portland on that tour, and I think I was there on the 26th of October of '86, and saw Eat 'Em. Same arena, December 8th of '86, and the reason I remember it was December 8th is because it was a birthday present. I gotten the tickets from my parents to go see Diamond Dave. What fucking firepower in that band. So let's start with Eat 'Em first. So Eat 'Em, Templeman did that, who's, as we know, he's worked with Van Halen for years, Montrose and all, Doobie Brothers, amongst others. But obviously Yankee Rose, I mean, what a killer tune, right? And the video is kind of a little bit fruity, but, again, it captured what you saw on stage on that tour, which I thought was great. Shy Boy, again, kind of like a little shred fest there. At that point, I wasn't super familiar with the Talus version. They really refined it when they did it on that Eat 'Em record. I mean, I am a fan of Talus, but it doesn't even match up, the performance. Really dig Ladies Night in Buffalo, kind of a little bit different, but not too weird. I know there's a bunch of tunes on this record that are it could have been from Crazy from the Heat, which is garbage, in my opinion. Going Crazy, again, pretty cool, funny video with the theme and everything that he had going on that. And then I really enjoy Bump and Grind. So there's about 5 tunes on Eat 'Em that I really think are keepers. The one thing I wanted to point out, because I do remember seeing it around that time, is they did record a Spanish version of Eat 'Em and Smile.
Of that album.
Complete garbage. Knowing that the translation is absolute shit and not good at all. So 5150, Mick Jones, the Foreigner founding member, Don Landee, and Van Halen, which at that point was Hagar, also in the mix. Can't Beat Good Enough. What a fucking great tune. And Get Up, again, not super great, but still hits the spot. Personally, I think these next 3 back to back are my favorites off this one. Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds, that's basically what is that? Is that the Cool in the Gang? I mean, they basically stole that and reworked it into a rock tune. What was it? Celebrate, was it? Yeah. But anyways,
yeah.
and they I totally dig that one. And then 5150. All three, let's see. Well, they, they did Good Enough. I don't remember if they did Get Up, but I know they did Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds, 5150, and they opened up the intro to the tour that Hagar did with Bonham and Satriani and Michael Anthony. That was the opening tune. So again, those are the tunes. Good Enough, Get Up, Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds, 5150, and I'll take the Inside too, just because it's a weird kind of almost like an atmospheric type tune. Not really great, but for an intro, as they used it, worked pretty well. And real quick on that, I did catch two shows on that Hagar tour. I got the one in Spokane, and then caught Ridgefield, which I'm glad I did, simply because both were Bonham shows, and then after that he split. And I watched some of the clips with Aronoff in there, and it's so weird how you take a different drummer and throw him into the mix, and how it kind of fucks up the feel for everything. Bonham was fucking great, and I think the reason that he really was like kind of the secret weapon in that band was because of his vocals. I mean, the guy can sing pretty well. So anyway, I guess when it comes, if I break it down song for song, yeah, Eat 'em better tour, 5150 better album for me. So,
Hey. Andrew, you want to go last, right?
Yeah, but I just wanted to mention, because you talked about Jason Bonham there for a second, and on that first Bonham album, there's that song "Wait for You," and do
right.
you think that Neely connects with that song on a personal level, being what that's about?
I don't know. It's probably over his head. As you saw, that email said that he thought that he was what was the word? Highly intelligent, but he's
Pretty much. Well, all right. Evil's gonna weigh in here. Talking about both albums, they both suffer production wise, as a lot of these mid '80s albums do. There's this great as Billy Sheehan is playing bass. There's just not enough bottom end. It's all thin. I don't really like the Landy Mick Jones production at all for Van Halen. When they get to For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, that's when I think they started hitting the stride with Van Hagar. This album, to me, for a number of reasons, made me not like Van Hagar. That's the reason why I didn't warm to it right when I first heard this. So, but we'll go over each album one by one. So let's just start there because I'm on that with the Van Hagar. So I'm not big on the Mick Jones and the pop production. It sounds like they're just going for the singles and the radio stuff already. And to me, I did not want that from my Van Halen. Uh, Good Enough is a cool song to start, but it gets into this breakdown, and then they got Sammy trying to do a Dave-like rap, which is the first song I heard on the album, and I thought, why is he trying to do Roth? Just be Sammy. Don't try to do Roth. You can't do Roth. And so that whole breakdown part section where he's doing the spoken rap jive thing before they go back, what? Why are you trying to act like this is 1984 or 1982 with Roth? Just go be Hagar. So although the riff is cool and the catch is cool, that's where I started losing it right off the bat. It makes me feel like they're trying to capture something that Sammy isn't, and that's where my problem is. I want Sammy to be Sam, not Roth. So then we'll go through, but give me later when you get to Get Up, that's basically Good Enough part two. It's the same song, same kind of riffage, same thing. I mean, okay, but I already heard that on the first track, so to give that to me on track 3 seemed weird. Then they fill me with a bunch of ballads on this album that I'm not hip to. So I'll just tell you right now, any of the stuff you heard on the singles and the videos, I don't even like. That didn't do anything for me. So when I went through the whole album, there's 4 songs Evil would play right now in my car and listen to. Why Can't This Be Love, which is the only ballad I may listen to, slightly kind of a ballad. Mm-hmm. Dreams, kind of a ballad, I guess, but I don't know. I kind of like the chorus. Summer Nights, and Best of Both Worlds rocks. So those are the 4 that I would go back to and listen to repeatedly. The other ones I feel like you're going to have to force me to listen to them. I'd rather just hit skip. So then when I went to the Roth album, again, the production is lacking for me. Again, Billy Sheehan and Greg Bissonette are a hell of a rhythm section. Should have been boosted up in the production. Vi's guitar live, if you watch the videos, rips way louder and more than on the album, although he plays fantastic. Both him and Eddie are both able to do all this stuff all you want. So you're going to get equal doses of that. When I went through the track listing, for me, the songs that I would go back and listen to, that I do listen to and enjoy, is Yankee Rose, Shy Boy, Ladies Night in Buffalo, Going Crazy, Tobacco Road, Elephant Gun, and Big Trouble. Those all to me feel like kind of classic Roth. I tossed away any of this gigolo type of stuff or the hokey pokey shit he does that has nothing to do with rock, and just stuck with the ones I like, which is guitar driven. And all those have, even though Elephant and Big Trouble are a little bit, he starts doing his vocal shabazz and whatever, talking all this shit. But the point is, the riffage and the music's good. So when I just go track list to track list and I get 4 out of 5150, I got 7 out of Eat 'em and Smile. So for that reason, I'll go Eat 'em and Smile. There you go. So Barden likes me right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know what more I can say, because I concur with Nate pretty much on a lot of that. I like the Live Without a Net DVD, so that was the tour for 5150. But as far as 5150 as an album goes, like Nate said too, I'm right there with you with For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is like the Sammy album with Van Halen. So by default, I end up going with Eat 'em and Smile as what I would go to before over this.
And
Like
I do
said,
agree with
that's
you.
why I wanted
really,
to go last, because I don't really have much to say about it.
I do agree with you too. When I ended up seeing Live Without a Net, I thought that's better. That's what I would want to see Van Halen with Sammy Hagar be like. If they had just made the album more like that, then that probably would have been good. But the album didn't come out that way.
The only thing I will,
I don't always blame neither in any of these cases. I don't blame Roth or Sammy. It's usually the
Right.
production, the guys running the knobs
Yes.
and doing the mixes later and the mastering, and that makes some of that change. So.
and I think some of it might suffer, because I know that it has been reported anyway that a lot of 5150 was written while Roth was still in the band. So I think like it really wasn't all originally Sammy. So Sammy still had to translate material that wasn't necessarily written for him on some of those songs. And I think
I did wonder
suffers.
if some of that arrangement for Good Enough was that.
That's why yeah.
But that's where I think they should have said, "Hey, Sam, let's just wipe the
Yeah,
slate clean here,"
they should have scrapped that song and
or rearranged it, or changed
Yeah.
the arrangement, and if the words were, I don't know if if Sam wrote the words or something was already there, but either way, that's what it felt like to me, like someone behind the scenes was trying to get Sam to do something that sounded like what Van Halen sounded like back then, and that's not what they should have been doing. What they should have been doing is going forward with Sam, like I said, when they get to For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, we're in a spot where Sam is full Sam. There's no It doesn't. Nothing on that album to me feels like Roth in any way. It's a whole thing the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And 08812 is in the middle, and I think that one suffers because of the production again and the drumming and some of the things they did. Again, trying to keep up with the technology of the 80s.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, and then you also had what? You had the Kiss Storms Las Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of interesting, because that I was reading up on that. And have you seen where it says that it's Gene and Paul plus special guests, and then one of the performances is special guests, and then the other performance is special guest Bruce Kulick? So it's kind of weird.
It left a lot of doors open.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my mysteries for me. Was obviously the intrawebs were going to go wild with the Ace and Pete rumors, but I don't think that has anywhere
No.
in the cards. I think what we're looking at here is, and I even heard this on. I should make mention those goofy guys on three sides of the
Oh
coin.
yeah.
Old Brandvold knows everything
But
because he's in the camps working for these
but
guys, doing all this shit
well,
behind the
if you're
scenes.
if you're gonna plug them, I'm gonna plug Shout It Out Loudcast, because those guys are
Yeah.
really those are really likable guys. So it's almost like the complete opposite of those three sides guys, because you walk away sometimes going, God, I really hate those fuckers. Where with
The Mark Cicchini doesn't seem like such a bad guy and seems pretty
no,
knowledgeable about his Kiss collecting and his stuff, but and doesn't seem to take himself too seriously. It's
right,
the other two who seem to take, particularly Brandvold, takes himself
yeah,
very seriously. And
right,
he's the one that's pretty. I have to tolerate him to hear the what because Cicchini's
Right.
a little bit. I think in his podcast he mentioned he went to
hmm
Vegas or somewhere and was kind of behind the scenes with the people that are putting this thing together to understand what the fans would not want and so forth. But like all Kiss things, he had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, is what he said on their show. So
yeah,
he can't tell you what's happening. But one thing that they did make clear was Tommy and Eric are not under contract right
right.
now. So that may not. They may make it if the contracts are signed before the event, but it sounds like
Which
they may not, and it could be
how
somebody else playing in this band.
how weird is that though? Because Singer lives in Vegas, and I think also Thayer has a home in Las Vegas. You know, kind of like Ed Trunk. So he has a
Second
second home in
home.
Las Vegas. But how weird would that be? You know, to not see Singer. I mean, I could live or take or leave Thayer, you know, if Kulik's in the mix, but Tommy, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he's also been in the band for quite a bit.
Long
So
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
At least
I just
20.
thought that was odd. Yeah. And I thought that was odd that they would not have been already trying to retain them or take them into the show, the whatever they're planning on doing here. So, but they're going to be performing unmasked apparently. So
mm,
it would seem to me, that's where I thought, in my mind, when I heard it unmasked, I thought, well, it's going to be Kulik and Singer, right? That's the most logical conclusion. You
right.
go back to
Well,
the
let's
guys that
hope
were
so,
doing
because
the,
that would be awesome.
yeah. But, so, but in my heart of hearts, I would hope it would be Vinnie Vincent. I'm just kidding.
I don't think that's happening.
I'm
I don't
just
think
kidding.
that's
I just
happening.
I wanted to get a rise out of the CMSers out there. Go, oh, Vicky Vincent.
Yeah.
So we don't even know if Vicky Vincent can play guitar, ladies and gentlemen. There's been no video evidence of that. The one opportunity she had, she strummed the chords and played rhythm and didn't even do the solo. So,
Yeah,
it would have to be Kulik or some all new players, but that's where I was going. Well, who
right.
are you bringing? And then when I looked at the ticket prices, some of these packages are $1,500,
Yeah.
$1,800, $2,000 for the room, the VIP, and the show tickets. And I'm going, but you don't know who you're seeing in the show other than Gene and Paul.
Well,
And last time I heard Paul, I don't know he sounded that good. Is he $2,000 worth of good?
The one thing I haven't heard anybody mention is could it possibly also be Paul and Gene's kids joining them? You know how they've kind of
maybe.
paired up. I don't know.
The introduction of the new
Could
Kiss.
be.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that would
younger
be
players.
that would be kind of a bummer not to have the little guy Eric Singer in on that. You know.
Yeah, good drummer.
Yeah.
Real good drummer. Hell of a
But
resume, too.
They should have done this a while ago, though. They should have done this a decade ago, and it would have had the feel of kind of the complete opposite when they did the unplugged thing, and it became kind of like a reunion with Ace and Peter. When but Paul hasn't had a voice in a decade. I think the last time he sounded
No.
good was on that solo tour when I saw him, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
He was kind of toast after that.
And that was 19 fucking years ago.
I know.
That was
So it was
06.
more than 10. Yeah, it was more than 10 years ago. So he would have been fried anyway.
Yeah, so that just all seems odd to me. Again, you can't even get tickets to the show unless you stay at the hotel. It's a whole thing. It's all or nothing. There's no.
If you listen to the Shout It Out Loud cast, the way they put it is it's almost like the Kiss cruise on land.
Yep. Yeah, you got
So
to
it does
stay at the
have that kind of,
Virgin to get into the event and do the whole thing. That's why I was
mhm,
saying. So
yeah,
I just thought for that price, yes, you're going to stay at a nice hotel. Yes, you're going to do some fun kiss stuff. But what are you doing? What am I
right,
doing? Who am I seeing? Who's
right.
Bruce is cool, but is that it? I don't know if it's
Well,
$2,000 a cool.
and it would be cool to have, but how, I mean, would they allow it, right? Because we saw those clips we were watching a while back, those clips of the, uh, what Kulik used to call the mob members of Bruce's band, when he had the guy, and they
Mhm.
were doing the deep cuts. And then prior to
Yeah.
that, they had Bob and they were doing deep cuts and just shit
Yep.
that Kiss doesn't ever do.
Yes, and that to me was that. Like I said, shared that with you guys before. That was one of my favorite Kiss offshoots was the Kulik Brothers band. I was
Yes.
disappointed it did not get off the ground and at least go play a run of shows around the U.S. or something because I think they could have done some decent clubs and had a good time and They played the shit out of some songs you don't ever hear Gene and Paul ever touch.
Yeah. A lot of stuff I tend to gravitate to, like Nowhere to Run, Nowhere to Hide.
Larger Than
Didn't they have?
Life,
Yeah.
All American Man,
I think Charisma
uh,
was in there.
a bunch
No,
of
that
stuff.
was what Todd Kern's singing, I believe.
Yeah,
Playing bass and singing.
Right. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, do you think if this takes off, I mean, do you think that'll be like a? I don't know that they can tour, right? And plus, Gene has all those solo dates even after the fact. So, and he's also doing a cruise. Gene's is doing that. What is it? I think it's the classic rock cruise or Legends of Classic Rock Cruise or something like that. But either way, he's doing a cruise next year. And that's kind of weird. So then that's probably going to be no Kiss cruise. You would think that they would have hyped it up and done another Kiss cruise and brought in all the non makeup people that they could onto that. You know,
The Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Vinnie Vincent, Vinnie Vincent brought Mark Slaughter and the
I
real
was like,
Dana Strum and
Mark St. John's corpse
Mark
in a
St. John,
casket by the
Mark
pool
St.
for a
John's,
viewing.
Mark St.
With
John
the
in
glass casket, yeah, so you could see it.
the Mark St. John Jimmy Bain project, and they could have done like a solo thing
You
with
could do
Kiss Cruise.
again if Evil was in charge of the entertainment. We could do the Meet Aces bookie from New York City over here.
Oh my god.
Meet the
Yeah.
men he owes money to.
Which I think
But
what I was going to throw this out. And we need to get a real Kiss start on here to because I think I threw out the idea of doing maybe we could do a triple. You could do the Ace makeup, the '78 solo album versus the first Freelies versus Trouble Walking, because I think
mhm.
those are like his better shit, really. But
Yeah.
Yes, well, all three of those are ones I do go back to. I'm obviously an admitted Ace fan, despite his proclivities off stage. And I was suggesting at some point in time we should do an album versus album with where they parted ways with Vinny and he makes the Invasion album and they went with Animalize. And I actually listened to those two the other day. I was going, the Invasion album's actually got kind of a couple tracks on there that are pretty strong. Animalize only has
The
two or three that I really like.
the
right.
first invasion, right? Like the Robert
Yeah, the
Fleshman
first one
one.
with
Yeah.
Robert Fleischman one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the strongest one, and it just I just felt like some of those tunes right there probably could have if Paul Stanley was singing them and put on the next Kiss album would have been an epic Kiss album. But I think that and then
Right.
Animalize isn't bad. I just don't like Mark St. John's guitar playing for my taste, and I just felt like there was two or three good Paul songs, and then the rest of it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul's always carrying the load in those days. A lot of those albums with Gene didn't have, but maybe a song that might be.
Plus, plus, Animalize has that goddamn song on there that has one of the stupidest fucking
Oh
lyrics of
no.
all of
What is
Kiss
it?
history, which is "I'm gonna put my log in your
Ah,
fireplace."
I knew
What
it.
was that? Was that "Burn, Bitch,
Yeah,
Burn"?
burn, bitch, burn.
There's a whole period there in the mid to late 80s where the innuendos and the lyrics were becoming ridiculously stupid. And it was almost like they were trying to
especially
one
with
up each other over who could fit the dumbest fucking thing in the lyrics.
and it sounds dumb with how aggressive Gene has his makes his voice sound when he sings too. When he, I'ma put my log in your fireplace.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. He
come
was he was
on,
really
stop,
he was
stop it.
really he was really too busy acting and just giving Paul scraps of
Right.
whatever he had in his vault.
Listen, you guys,
Yeah.
I chatted.
What was the movies? What were the movies he did back then? It was what Trick or Treat and
Uh,
Runaway. The little
Runaway.
Yeah,
fucking
Yeah.
Runaway with
spiders.
Tom
Yeah,
Selleck
the
was the
little
big one.
yeah,
Yeah.
the little electronic spiders running all over the fucking city.
Let me see here.
Oh man.
I think let me look.
What was the one where he was the female drag and he fights Scott Baio?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah. What the fuck
He was like
that?
the cross-dressing
That wasn't
female drag
Runaway, was
robot
it?
thing. No, that was the other
No.
one, wasn't it? It was the other one. There was another one, one that came after that, another lower budget one. He kind of each
Yeah.
movie got lower budget. It seemed like
Uh,
it did.
Yeah.
It seemed like each one got
It
worse and
did.
worse.
It did.
so here's what I want you guys to do because I chatted with uh with Chris and Neely's boss, Ron Keel, a couple weeks
Uh-oh.
ago. A couple
His
weeks ago.
boss.
But we were chatting about the 40th anniversary of the Right to Rock, and we kind of broke down the record. But if you listen to, oh fuck, where is it? What song is it? Oh, I think it's easier said than done. He was talking about Gene contributing a bunch of songs, and a lot of these were songs that they didn't use for the. I guess it might have been the Animalize record. They recycled, a couple Keel tunes.
Yeah.
I almost think it's easier said than done. If you listen to Easier Said Than Done, it totally sounds like a Gene song. Um, and it was written by Gene, so
Probably.
you could totally
Yeah.
picture that as
And yeah. Well, right there, produced by
okay.
Gene
Yeah,
Simmons.
Gene
Gene Simmons.
worked
Yeah,
on
they were
that,
on
but-
his he put the band on the
Yeah.
label, right?
yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you listen to that song, that should have been on fucking Animalize. I don't know what he was thinking not putting it on that record, but it wound up on the Keel record.
Even apart from Animalize, there's a lot of Kiss songs that other people got a hold of that it would have been best for them to keep to themselves. I'll point to Sword and Stone. That was what Crazy Nights that was supposed to be on originally. And then who did that Bonfire for what? Shocker was the name of the movie, I think.
So on that one, that shitty band Crazy Licks did it for a compilation, like a re-records and best of type thing. And again, I'd prefer the Bonfire version because it's almost like
Yeah.
they did a cookie cutter version of that. So but yeah, and then the Wendy O. Williams stuff. It's My Life.
Oh yeah,
that
because
wound up
that's
on
pretty
that. What
much a
fucking
secret
great
Kiss
song.
album.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a good.
Because
We
they
should
had
almost
they had
review
Paul,
that
Gene,
record.
Ace, and that's a good one.
Yeah.
The Plasmatics one.
Mhm.
Because they had all four of them they had the whole Creatures lineup pre Vinny on that fucking album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that was basically a Kiss record with Wendy O.
Yep.
Williams singing, basically, So,
But
well,
my point of that is that you notice the difference when they always try some of these people out there. Well, Vinny didn't save Kiss. Well, he didn't save Kiss. Kiss was already a
Mhm.
band. But there's 2 or 3 albums that he made really good with his songwriting. And then as soon as he was out, the picture were to Animalize and We Only Get Heavens on Fire and a couple of turds. So, yeah, that was my
What
point.
would be your 3 off Animalize? Because I'm sitting right about
Ooh.
3 with them too. I can tell you mine
Animalize?
right out the gate.
I'd
Yeah.
have to look at the track
Let me
listing
look.
again to see which ones here. Let me see.
Mine's I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, Heaven's on Fire, and Thrills in the Night. Those would be my 3 off that one.
Let's see here.
Animalize. Let's see here. Well, I definitely. Oh, and they also have, by the way, they have the off the record soundboard that they
Oh yeah.
just released, but they don't
Mhm.
have it on CD. You have to get it from Japan. It's only on
Yeah.
vinyl, but it's San Antonio from the I guess what is it? The Asylum tour. Looks
Yeah.
pretty cool. I mean, I they
Yeah.
only have
So
it on
looking at the
vinyl.
yeah, I noticed that too. I'm just streaming it because I'm not gonna order it from fucking Japan. Heaven's on Fire. Burn Bitch Burn I can go either way on. I do like Under the Gun. Thrills in the Night were cool. I don't again with these last two While the City Sleeps, Murder in High Heels, don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
Lonely as the Hunter, like Simmons was trying to put something together there. But that's what I'm saying. It's like a pretty whereas the Invasion album, let's go to that one real quick. If you Vinnie
Any
Vincent Invasion, yeah. I think there's like more songs on there overall that I would go back to and actually listen to. Hold
hmm.
on.
Boys are gonna rock.
I like
No
that one.
substitute.
I like Shoot You Full of Love.
Yeah.
Um, let me see here.
Is that like Neely's theme song?
Yeah.
So Boys Are Gonna Rock, Shoot You Full of Love, No Substitute's good. Animals kind of okay. I like Back on the Streets. That's pretty much almost my theme
That,
Yeah.
song.
yes. I forget. Yes. Yep.
That's the
But
one
that's
that I
the one
really
that
want.
John Norum did too on his solo record.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the one that somewhere on the internet there's a demo of Paul singing it that they were going to do it with Kiss for the next album, and it didn't make it, and because Benny left. And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Paul singing that would have been amazing. So
Right.
Hmm.
I Want to Be Your Victim too. That's a cool song as well. And Twisted is just kind of a musical,
Mhm.
like it's a lot of Vinny riffing. I mean, if you don't like Vinny's playing, you won't like the album. But I'm saying there's like 4 or 5 songs there that I could go, oh, I like that one and that one, that one.
Right.
Animalize, I got maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'll go
So
with
Yeah.
the first three for Animalize, and yeah, there's way more on the Vinny record, I think.
I just think it
Yeah.
proves that Vinny, although guitar playing wise might not have been the best lead guitar player for the band, songwriting wise, he does
Hmm.
contribute choruses and verses and catches and melodies that they really needed because that's what made Lick It Up for me was that bulk of that album. If you look at the track listing, Vinny co-wrote a lot of it, and it's pretty strong. Creatures of the Night and Lick It Up were far better than Unmasked,
Right.
Elder, all that stuff they were doing before.
Right.
So they were like slowly going down the drain, and then Vicky Vincent showed up in drag and saved him.
Vicky Vince. Yeah, right. So, all right. Um, well, I don't know if you want to set up next weekend. Next
Oh yeah,
weekend
we'll
we're
just make
going
a
to have
quick
somebody,
mention.
and we're going to do like Leopard Mania.
Yes, we're gonna
Uh,
do an album versus album with this gentleman. Some of you CMSers out there know him, Mr. Jason Lundgren, and he's got his a few opinions, I think, himself of Wendell and the classic metal show he may want to express. And we decided to do an versus album with him, and he picked Def Leppard, Pyromania versus Hysteria, 2 classic
Ooh.
mutt-laying records.
yes.
So what's the right answer?
You're gonna have
High
to
and
find out.
dry.
Tune in next week. Yeah, to
Yeah.
some of us that
No,
could be
that's
the
my.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
No.
actually my favorite.
But he
But
picked
I do
it,
like.
so we'll
Yeah,
we'll
we'll roll
go
with
through those.
yeah, yeah. Either way, probably the 2 biggest selling records of their career, and
Right.
so yeah,
Yeah.
Cool.
for sure.
Well, we'll do that. Well, any last words?
Nope, I
Fuck
think
Neely.
no. Let's just we'll keep our ears and eyes peeled as we see what happens here with Wendell and his rental
Wait.
car shenanigans and his
What?
getting when
Yeah.
he eventually gets his new ride back and tries to cruise it through the neighborhood and see how
Oh,
long that lasts.
right.
And so yeah, Wendell just behind the scenes shoot Ruben a message for and apologize for trying to fuck up the Dawn interview because that's
Yeah, no
horseshit
shit.
and
That would be nice.
everything
the
would be
nice thing to
fine. I
do.
think we're all just slinging shit here a little bit. They talk a lot
Right.
of shit on their show too, so it's
Oh,
all
they
good. You guys
do.
can make fun of me and my wigs. That's all good.
I think
Um,
I think what they're struggling with is the fact that if you're unflappable, what the fuck do you do? I mean, they're so used to bullying other people, like they'll poke fun at this guy, that woman, this and the so what's it like? What's it like? And ha ha ha. That grew old quick, but just apologize. It's the right thing to do, coach.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, from the get-go, Wendell, when I called into the show, if you remember, he was quite stunned that Ruben was on the show with us. He was like, Ruben?
Right.
Ruben?
Yeah.
Ruben?
Oh shit.
So, I mean, and then for some reason, they seem to think that Ruben was the one that was the
right.
mastermind here
I was
behind
the
this whole
mastermind.
thing.
Yeah, no.
No, we're all equal. Just like you and Aiken have your roles over there, we have our roles over here, and we're just trying to run a show. I think what they're mostly, they were probably trying to ignore us, and now probably annoyed by us is probably my
Probably.
guess. Is
It's like, oh shit! Now they're gonna keep, they're gonna hold us
they keep
accountable.
turning out
going.
once Kendall Peters and Alan Niven and things start showing up. They are going to do a show. They're really sticking around and putting episodes up. What's happening?
Yeah, and we haven't missed a week. So, and it's, believe it or not, time flies. We're already 2 months into this
Time
thing.
flies. Wow.
What about
we have
we
episodes.
get what's his name? Moonface. We can bring him in and do Dream Theater. Maybe
I thought he
Images
was
and
banned from the show. You have to lift your ban.
That was the number one rule of Evil Keneally to be on the shows. I'm not talking to Moonface Drake and his fucking
come on.
bullshit.
You can show some growth.
If he would come on the show and face me man to man, come on, Moonface. I will
Sorry.
again. There is no one Evil is afraid of. So let's chop it
Are
up.
we
Let's
lifting
see
the John Drake ban?
if he will actually come on the show. If he will contact us and come on
Yeah.
the show, I will. We can do this. I would like to hear, because again, he has these opinions about us and how we're out to get everybody. So yeah.
Well,
get on
yeah,
the
no,
show.
he has opinions about you and Ruben. He's fine with me.
Again, they selectively choose who they
I don't
decide
know.
to hate,
Yeah.
and some of it there's no basis in reality for the hate.
Right.
They could easily sit down on their phone and make a few memes and toss them in the group about us, and I would laugh at them too if they were funny, but they don't
Right.
do it. So.
Okay. Well, wait. Let's stop there for a second. All right. Because we've thrown each other in the fucking memes too. It's not just, I
Mhm.
mean, Neely gets it the worst, but I mean, nobody, have we ever been pissed off with each other for, hey, why did you put me in that fucking
Right.
thing? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
come
No,
on.
there's memes out there where I'm
It's
standing
funny.
next to Don at his hospital bed.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
come on, there's no. That's when you get to the internet. This is what Wendell doesn't understand about social media. It's no holds barred, Wendell. It's you can't have any feelings on the internet. It's everybody's just fucking around talking shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he doesn't get it because he's almost 70 years old, I mean, whatever.
Well, that's what I was explaining to you guys last night. Them discussing how much television they watch is mind numbing to me because I can't imagine having so much time to watch so much fucking television.
Right.
So
There's nothing.
Well, I mean, what else
good
is
on.
that's a very boomer thing to do. That's what my parents do. That's
Yeah.
what Dayton's at home doing right now. He's watching television, I'm
He's
sure.
like, are you making
Well,
any
that's
money
where
off that
Wendell
show?
learned it.
The cable box isn't working, Wendell.
Wouldn't
Evil,
it be
get over
great-
here. Help, Evil, help.
Wouldn't it be great to have Dayton call in and talk about what a shithead Wendell is?
Oh, if it
Oh.
wouldn't piss off Brother Wendell, I would
Oh,
reach out
no.
to Father Dayton and have him on. So on that note, we do have some other guests in the works. Again, I don't want to tease too much, but some former CMSers that we're trying to. Some of them are hard to wrangle and kind of corral into coming on.
There
to
is
the
a
show.
fellow that I think shares
No.
the same values as life coach Neely, though.
Yes, and we are, it's not so supportive
Yeah.
of those views, but we also understand that certain people have shtick that they like to do, and we are going to let them have free reign, just like I'm going to let Moonface come in here and be a jack off.
We could do a Dream Theater album challenge, train of thought versus images and words.
Oh, they might fall
Yeah.
asleep during the
They
whole
might fall
show,
asleep.
but that's
As
that's
far
okay.
as far as old CMSers, I will say this on here. If anybody remembers Doghouse and knows who he actually is and knows how to get a hold of him, let us know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
There
is
might-
what
there's-
we're
there-
absolutely trying to track down.
And whatever happened to Lou from the Lou? I mean, he kind of just dropped dead. He's probably
Disappeared as well. Yep.
died in some gutter or something.
Lou from the Lou, Barden. We are now making the
Barden, yes,
invitation
we
for
need Barden. You've been
You
banned
have
from
been
there.
banned.
Yeah,
So
come here.
Come to the Wrap Up Show and join us here. I think we were also there was someone else I had thought of recently. Wes that got fucked on the high hysteria on the high seas. If you're still out there and
Right.
watching these shows, we can most certainly pop in here and give us your thoughts. There's other ones, obviously. I was trying to find the Thunder Walrus, but he doesn't exist on the internet anymore. I wanted him to come on and rant about Aiken, but he wasn't. Couldn't be found.
Right.
So yeah, any of those old school people would be cool to hear from, and we have some other guests we're scheduling to come back around, and I can say for a fact, Evil has a weekend of shows in May with my band. I'll be out on the road for a weekend, so Kendall Peters will be sitting in my spot that particular weekend. It sounds like, and filling in for me here. And when I get done with my Queensryche show at the end of May, I'll review the show there. And then Kendall said she would like to come on, and then we'll do an album.
Oh,
versus
that's right,
album.
Queensryche.
So-
Yeah.
There we go. So if, again, somebody knows how to get a hold of Doghouse, if you could do that before the end of May, please do so.
That would be appropriate, because as I'm discussing Lattori's Reich, it would be really cool to have the real Jeff Tate all of a sudden chime in
Yeah, right.
with his opinions of this travesty. I'm sure he thinks it is. So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So anyways, yes, the door's always open. You can reach us via the Facebook page, or any one of us. We're out there posting around, or the Facebook group if you don't know how. Post a comment on a Rumble video and you'll get a response. I try to stay up on that. And yes, we are available. And coming soon, Wendell Neely bobbleheads and Funko Pops and
Funko
Father Dayton T-shirts.
Is
We're gonna
the
have
the
a-
I'm
Funko
still
Pop?
working on that.
We're going to have a CMS Wrap Up Show website with all of this wonderful merchandise available to you guys. And then just to help them out, we're going to go ahead and put a big banner on the bottom about Aiken's IT with a bunch of
I
scrolling
will.
shit going on to confuse everyone.
Make
I
it look like you're
will.
driving,
Wait,
you're flying
wait,
through
wait.
space.
Yeah.
I will give an update on the Father Dayton T-shirt. Still looking for an outlet to print that up. It was submitted to Amazon and it was declined.
Oh, Jesus.
They don't like the photo of the guy for Father Dayton, do they?
It's almost Father's Day too. That'll be around the corner.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But the
So,
second
yeah.
the second we find a home for that to be printed on demand and ordered, the link will be up. That is something we're seriously trying to get accomplished.
And we were going to send a care package to Brother Wendell, but Brother Wendell, we know you'll just go ahead and put it in the closet unopened and no one will ever see it. So
Oh no,
that
he's
wouldn't do
not
us
even
any
going to
good.
keep it. He's going to throw it right in the trash. But I
Right.
was
We'll
wondering.
just and we could send it to his office building because he likes to put that out there, and we
Jesus.
know where that is from the name on his shirt and the Scottie
Well,
Pippen picture.
I don't think we want
Well-
to scare him. He'll get the wrong idea.
But he needs a club for the car and a lock up the steering wheel to give him some more time.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out because Funko is
Do you think
based
that
out of
he
the
would-
Northwest. Maybe
Do
we
you
could
think
get.
that he would throw our shirt in the trash?
He probably
Oh, that'd
would.
be great.
That'd be awesome.
If me or Ruben meet him at a show and we take him a wrap up show T-shirt and he throws it in the garbage can
I
and
just
storms off.
need to
that would be-
remind him that
that would be
if he
epic.
feels somebody tugging on his flabby lunch lady arms, it's probably going to be me.
someone nipping at his Mexican mariachi pants as he's standing
Oh.
backstage.
I don't think he can fit in those anymore. But again, an apology would be good. Coach Neely. It'd be
Yes,
awesome.
and the guy that sweeps up at the Arcada Theater said that you need to wear something other than the cross shirt, the Iron Cross shirt, and he said you and Taylor need to change up your wardrobe, and he's still waiting for Steven to play something off Invitation.
Yeah, he was
Invitation.
actually disappointed that Warren and Steven did not add any invitation songs into the set list like was promised.
Yes, that's why he wore the Blotzer shirt. He felt that they might represent Invitation much stronger than Piercy could.
Oh my God. All right.
So, anyways, yeah, just don't be surprised, Brother Wendell, when next time you're at the Arcada Theater and me and Ruben are standing there with popcorn looking at you. Citizen Wendell, we
and
found
he feels
you.
a little tugging on the lunch lady arms. Unless he
so,
apologizes. If he apologizes, it would be cool. I mean, again, he can't undo it. I mean, he already did it.
Yeah.
He might
just
freak the fuck out if that actually were to happen, Ruben. He might turn around and he might see you and he might start crying and handing you his wallet or some shit.
Oh no, I don't want his wallet. I just want an apology. That's all I want.
But you got to think about how his brain works.
Oh yeah.
BJ Zappa, protect me from Ruben. Yeah.
right.
So,
Well-
anyways, no, brother Wendell, it's okay, brother. We know you made a mistake there, and yeah, just don't let it happen again. Well, I don't at this point foresee much coming from Don anyway. So
No.
we got a year left of him on the road, and then it's not. We're going to be moving on to different stories.
Right.
And let's ask this though before we go. What would happen to brother Wendell once all the shows with Dawkins gone?
Well, he can't
50%
latch
of the show is no longer able to be
Right.
talked about.
No, and he can't latch his little wagon to the Piercy camp because that's pretty much closed for him.
I don't
You know?
think Greenbaum is letting.
No,
that
he's got a
happen.
capable guy in Greenbaum.
Exactly. A man who's
Well-
got who's doing a full 360, taking care of Steven at all times. Yeah. So
Neely's been doing some sucking up to Jason though, so maybe that is the thought process. Now that you said it,
I was wondering if he was going to lead the John Levin band out on the road or something.
The John Levin trio.
The
You know.
John Levin band. Who would sing in that? Would it be McCarville?
Skinny Pants. They're already got.
Oh,
There
his
you
lined
go.
up.
Yeah, he sings in everything.
Yeah, it's an easy call.
Andrew Freeman.
So,
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
So, yes, for those that don't know, that's what I refer to because he's always wearing the skinny pants. But he's not a bad singer. I just think that he spreads himself too thin, and some of the projects he sings on, I don't think his voice really fits well. It's just like he's taking the gig because they're paying and they need a singer. So,
Right.
I would take Andrew over Mitch Malloy. So,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
that.
In a second.
Any day of the week. Yeah,
Or the little French guy.
yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
like him in
yeah.
Great White either.
Harry, no. The new kid, the Brett Carlisle kid,
Yeah.
is not doing too bad. He sounds pretty
he
good.
sounds
He at least
good.
makes it sound. If you close your ears and just listen, it sounds like Great White with him singing.
Yeah, I saw them twice with him, and it sounds good.
Yeah,
We're
I
not
don't-
much of
you
a
don't-
fan of the Malloy. Never saw Freeman, but I saw them with Terry Eluse, and yeah,
I've seen them with Eluse, and it wasn't anything special. No.
no.
Didn't do it for me. No,
I like that first XYZ album, but I
Oh
don't.
yeah,
I don't really
right.
see him as a fit for Great White.
No,
No, yeah, and I look at the Brett Carlisle as kind of like Nate Peck. He makes it sound right. He appearance on stage appears to fit with the band. It's not like who's this guy who's in it. It sounds right. So everyone can say what they want about it, but if actual sonically speaking, Kendall and them are making it sound like Great White as close as they can at the moment, and that's the best they can do without Jack. Which, don't make me say it again, I still think the Jack emails are the funniest thing anyone's ever written in their life. When he told Mark Kendall adios puto, that was the ultimate kibosh on that relationship. And if you're from Southern California, you understand the joke there. So, anyways. But anyway, so yeah, we'll wrap this up here. We'll be back next week with Mr. Lundgren and some Def Leppard album versus album. And we'll see what transpires with Brother Wendell. Are they doing a live show next week? I didn't even get to the end of last night's show. It was so boring.
I dipped out the second that Neely started making excuses for
Yeah.
rape and shit like that, as he always
Yeah.
does, because he never believes anything bad could happen to a woman because they're all bitches.
right.
Fucking cocksuckers.
Which kind of
Anyway.
goes with that damn email. God, holy
There he goes back to the email about his
Yeah.
thoughts and his feelings about women. And this is why, Brother Evil says at all times we should give the women the benefit of the doubt because we know
Mhm.
there are plenty of guys out there that are up to no fucking good. And that's usually who's
Yes, absolutely.
And so,
And-
could there be a couple of women out there that are spoiling it for the others by making false shit? Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
But we know
it's not
that would be
impossible, but-
that would be the minority in any statistical category, and the majority would be creepy guys doing creepy
Right.
things.
Yep.
All right.
Let's just keep it all on the ups. We don't want to have to put
Yeah.
the Ronnie Radke logo
Yeah.
in the sky and try to get it out here,
Try to get
rousing
him out.
everybody up for all their shenanigans.
Oh, that's right.
Anyways.
All
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week with Jason Lundgren and some Def Leppard.
All right.
All right. Bye, kids.
Bye, kids.
Raise your horns high, let your spirit flow.